Miss Serena Sundell. Girl, I do not know what you put in your cereal at halftime, but you need to share with the class. I need to be on what you on because 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 23 points in the second half. In the second half, like I said, I don't know what type of cereal, what type of Wheaties, what type of Special K, Captain Crunch. I don't care what it was, you need to share. Because this was something nuclear.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Woo! Welcome back to another episode of Run It Back. I am your host, Jazsmin Halliburton, here on KCSN. And baby, let me tell you, I had a time last night. Top 15 matchup going down in Bramlage Coliseum in Manhattan, Kansas. Number 9, TCU. Number 12, K-State. The fate of the conference, the fate of the Big 12, essentially resting in the hands of both teams at the start of tip. This can make or break you or put you in a really good position to see what happens because we know the season's not over yet, but damn it, winning this game puts you in a very decent position. K-State knew that. TCU knew that. Every single person that was in the stands knew that. Every person who had any sort of paying attention the entire season for Big 12 basketball knew that coming into this game, the biggest game as far as what it means at the end of the season for both teams. The biggest game for both teams. I understand TCU, they played South Carolina. They played Notre Dame early on in their non-conference. They were 1-1 in those matchups. Beat Notre Dame, lost to South Carolina. But this is the game that will determine if they, can get a trophy early on in the postseason, right? This is it. And I tell you, K-State, TCU, K-State wins 59-50. Man, when I tell you, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My heart rate was going at 215 beats per minute. Every fiber, every nerve in my body was shaking from jump till double zeros of the fourth quarter. I tell you, that game, it was magnificent. Now, I know I mentioned the scores, 50-59. These are two teams that average over 80 points a game. You are not expecting them to be held that low underneath their average, even though, yes, they're both very good defensive teams. Obviously, K-State is a really good defensive team, but that's asking for a lot when you go up against TCU, right? Number 9th ranked team in the country. And same thing's going to go for them and how they play defense against this K-State team that averages over 80 points a game, right? This was just an incredible game. If defense was is your thing, I implore you to watch this game. I really do. I'm talking team defense. I'm talking team defense. I'm talking individual defense when it comes to TCU. It was brilliant. Both teams did what they had to do defensively. They had a plan. K-State was to bring pressure and keep pressure all 40 minutes, and that's exactly what they did. They set the tone straight from Jump Street. I want to say they forced, 3 or 4 straight turnovers from TCU at the start of the game. TCU, they were sticking on our three-point shooters like white on rice and a paper plate in a snowstorm, okay? They was getting no room around that three-point arc, right? They were doing exactly what they needed to do. K-State doubling up at the top of the pick and roll. That's normally between Haley Van Lith and Sedona Prince. They made sure they shut that down and had their offense uncomfortable, out of rhythm for the entire game. Nothing came easy in this game for either team. they were both able to do their job. Now I understand K-State, they were in some really favorable positions, but wasn't able to get easy baskets, right? K-State ended up winning this game by 9 points, right? They probably could have easily added 10 more points to that in total if they were able to, make some easy bunnies essentially for the majority of the game, especially in that first half. Especially in that first half, they just couldn't seem to buy a bucket even though it was right underneath the basket, right? This is a game where the first quarter where no one hit double digits coming out of the first going into the second. It was tied at 8-8. How have you seen where something like that? And it wasn't necessarily, yes, sometimes it just wasn't making shots, but it was the defense that had about like 95% of that reason of why both teams only scored 8 points in the first quarter. Everyone was doing their job. 1-5 on K-State, 1-5 on TCU as well. That's what you had. I'm gonna break it down a little bit more, starting off what K-State was able to do in this game defensively. They forced 17 turnovers. Like I said, if you were able to watch this game from jump, that's what happened. K-State defense jumped them immediately. Immediately. You were not getting breaks. You were not getting looks. They didn't even get a chance to shoot the damn basket until it might have been their fifth chance down the floor to even get a look at the basket. Okay, that's what had happened. All right. So clearly jumped them from the start for 17 turnovers, had TCU shooting 40% from the field, 35% from three. They're doubling the high pick and roll, like I mentioned before, with Haley Van Lith and Sedona Prince. Now, these were two individuals coming into this game. They were averaging like 19 points a game, right? Their pick and roll gets teams' attention, right? Haley Van Lith, she's been in this league before. She's been around the block. This is her third school, but like I mentioned before in my last show, that Haley Van Lith, she's at the start of her career at Louisville, she was in the same conversation as Paige Beckert and Caitlin Clark. Their conversations where she was in it as far as young stars, she was in the conversation. All right. Yes, there's been a couple things. She's bounced around here or there. She was with LSU last season. Obviously, she is with TCU. This season, she played in France with a 3-on-3 league. So, the experience, the dog in her is there. If you paid attention to her at any point last night, obviously you were able to see it. So it's very important that somebody sticks on her hip for the entire 40 minutes. And that's exactly what happened in this game as well, especially in that high pick and roll, to where when Sedona Prince was going to set that pick at the top of the key. And of course, Haley Van Lith will have the option whether she wants to go shoot and do that quick first step to get to the hoop, or is she going to break down and have Sedona Prince and get it to the leg, right? She has that option, but K-State did not give her that option. You said it was immediately double team, and it's double teaming 20, 25 feet away from the basket, right? Not giving her a chance to set the offense, to run the offense, because she can assist the ball too now. She can assist the ball too. Obviously, she's not at the numbers of assists as Serena Sundell is, but let's be honest, no one really is. But she's able to pass the ball. She's a good passer. That's what she's doing. She's a true point guard in this league. But when you send her double just like that far away from the basket, other teammates for TCU are going to have to kind of scramble so she can get into her eye view so they can see it, so she can be able to pass out of it. Sometimes that didn't work. That led to turnovers. That led to you taking tough shots. And sometimes that led to open shots, because sometimes that's just what happens when you play that kind of defense. Someone's always going to be open, but that wasn't a situation that was so worrisome, kind of like what we saw against Iowa State when they did a very similar thing, right? And leaving a three-point shooter open, and they buried it easily, especially early on in the game. There was a little bit of that in this game against TCU, but nothing that was completely out of hand, right? They just made TCU completely uncomfortable for the entire game, and that's exactly what the plan was. Now, TCU, they said that they knew that was going to happen. It's one thing knowing what's going to happen. It's another thing trying to stop it, right? Those are two very, very different things, and we saw that come to fruition in this game, right? And something else that K-State was able to give up only 20 points in the paint against TCU. Mind you, Sedona Prince, who I mentioned before, averaged 19 points coming into this game. She was their leading scorer. Yes, she had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Once again, everybody on TCU had a little hand in turning that ball over in that game last night, right? So you have a 6'7" center in the Big 12, top of the Big 12. Now that Yoki is currently sidelined with this injury, and she was at the top of the Big 12 along with Audie Crooks as far as being one of the best players, not only just post players, just best player in general in the Big 12, right? Only 20-point pace. Given up. Had 32 rebounds. K-State out-rebounded them with 33 rebounds. K-State had more points in the paint with 32. That says a lot when you are going up against a 6'7" center and your 6'6" queen that could match up against her is out. That says a lot of what you are able to do as far as team defense and how it's defense by committee, especially when you have Katie Taylor, when you have Eliza Maupin, you have Gisela Sanchez in there, you have Amani Lester. They're all doing that job, and they all did their job against the Dona Prince as far as this team goes defensively. They did so much, and they did so much correctly. I'm telling you that. And Haley Van Liv, once again, another player that averages 19 points a game coming into this. She finished the game with 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, also 4 turnovers. Once again, that immediate pressure on the high pick and roll, seeing the double, that immediate pressure, full court pressure, picking them up 90 feet from the basket. That was all game long. There was not an opportunity to breathe. There wasn't. Nothing consistently, anyway. This is a well-oiled machine. This is a team that has a lot of endurance. This K-State defense, a lot of endurance. Do you know how taxing it is to play this type of suffocating defense for 40 minutes? It's a lot, and still expected to put up 80 points per game. Excuse me. That is a lot. That is a lot. And yes, there was a moment here and only a slight moment there that, yes, you can see this K-State team get tired, especially at the end of the second quarter when TCU made that, I think, 7-0 run to end the half, putting them up 6 at the point to make it, 25-19. Yes, team got a little tired, but luckily that's what halftimes are for. And what they do came right back. Now, we're about to take a break, but before we go into break, because I can talk about these teams all damn day if y'all let me, but before I can even think about doing that, we got to talk about homefieldapparel.com. They got what you need. They got K-State t-shirts, K-State hoodies, K-State hats, whatever you might want. They have it. Even if you want to go buy something that's not K-State related, because they have other schools as well, and they keep pumping out all the good gear. So go ahead and go dabble a little bit and go to homefieldapparel.com, and we'll be right back on Run It Back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
All right, I know I spent a very long time talking about this K-State defense, and obviously, rightfully so. They're one of the best in the entire country at making it do what it do on the defensive end. All glory to the Gap Goat, right? But now we do got to talk about what's going on offensively. Yes, it was a bit of a struggle offensively. TCU did a lot of good things defensively as well, but we got to give it up for the queen, not only of the night, but really for the season. Miss Serena Sundell. Girl, I do not know what you put in your cereal at halftime, but you need to share with the class. I need to be on what you want, because 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 23 points in the second half. Like I said, I don't know what type of cereal, what type of Wheaties, what type of Special K, Captain Crunch. I don't care what it was, you need to share. Because this was something nuclear coming into the second half. You went crazy. Girl, you were inevitable. No one could guard you. No one could stop you. You did it in different ways. You posted up, you hit the mid-range, and when they finally send you a double team, what happens? You finally found an open 3-point shooter to get it out the net. Like, there was open threes that wasn't there. Obviously, there wasn't a whole lot of threes. K-State only hit 5 of them, I think, in this game. But, like, bruh, what was you on? I mean, we obviously we've seen this play before. This can't be anything new. But when this was a point in the game to where it was tight, it was back and forth. The ball was in your hands. Everybody else, girl, you got it. You got it. That's exactly what the hell she did. And my God, okay. Because look here. I don't necessarily know how many points she had in the fourth quarter. Just straight up in the fourth quarter. Like I said, 23 points in the second half alone. But I know that in that fourth quarter, especially, late in the fourth quarter where it's like you turned into a robot. I don't know what she did. Same spot, same moves. The defense knew what you were gonna do, but that ain't matter. You ain't give a damn. And especially when you had Haley Van Lith on Serena Sundell. That's 5'9". Haley Van Lith on 6'2". Serena Sundell. Lunch meat. I don't care what type of lunch meat you want. You got turkey, ham, roast beef, whatever it is. That's what Haley Van Lith was against Serena Sundell, especially in that fourth quarter. There was nothing that she could have done. There was nothing that anyone could have done. Unless Sedona Prince was on you herself, they weren't going to do that. They weren't going to do that because they're going to find a way to torture in another way, right? Especially if she had foul trouble that deep into the game. It's just, what else can I really say? What else can anyone really say? We all, every move that she hopped out her bag, we've seen before. But when I tell you, it seemed like not even a miss. She barely missed, especially in that fourth quarter where things were still getting tight or things were still uncomfortable. I told you I couldn't even breathe for the entire game. And that's really how a lot of people probably felt. Every single time you back somebody up, left side of the floor, same side of the floor, that didn't change. And you thought, they thought they had you were backing up and shuffling your feet, knowing like, oh, no, you're going to turn on this shoulder or that shoulder. What did you do? You did some footwork and you was able to go on the other side of the basket. And it was like, oh my God. Like, there was nothing that they could have done to stop her at that point in the game last night. Not a damn thing. And I can only say so much. I can talk a lot, but y'all know what it is. When y'all see her, you think the other guards are going to be able to match up with her when she's in that zone? When she's in that zone? Look, Haley Van Lith, who had the tough job like many others to go up against Caitlin Clark last year when she was at LSU, and you all know that meme to where she kind of just this with Caitlin Clark hit, I don't know, her 7th 3-pointer of the night or something crazy like that. Honestly, I felt like we were getting another moment. We could have easily another moment just like that where she's, what else do you want me to do? There's nothing else for her to do. And at that point, bro, it's just go ahead, take your lunch, just finish this game out and go on home. Because what are you going to do? But no, I got to move on. Because I already, Serena Sundell, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. But now, someone else we're going to have in this conversation, right? Jalen Glenn. Girl. And I ain't going to forget about you now, okay? 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, okay? You know, the 3-and-D that she is, like I always say, she was 6 of 7 from the field. I swear to you, this season, Jalen Glenn, she's like a walking smelling salt. I don't know what it is. Every single time there's like a lull in the game or coming out of half or coming out of a quarter, coming out of a timeout and things need to be moving slow. Woo! Jalen Glenn all of a sudden got 5 quick points. Oh, snap. That's what we need. And then everybody else just gets on that wave. Same thing happened this game against TCU. Coming out of halftime, K-State is down 6 points. TCU still playing very good defense, obviously, but now you got to make things do what it do. And that's exactly what Jalen Glenn did. 5 quick points. Coming out of half. Open 3. At that point in time, I think she was had one of the 2 threes that K-State had in that point of the game. Hers was wide open. Boom, get that out the net. All right, what's something else that had to be done? They chased her off the three-point line. That ain't no problem. Floater. First 5 points of the quarter, and then that's what catapulted into that being a 24-point third quarter. That was huge in this game. Yes, K-State ended up winning this game by 9, and that was credit to Serena Sundell and also her hitting her free throws in that moment, in that stretch as well. But that third quarter wouldn't have kicked off like that if it wasn't for Jalen Glenn. If it wasn't for her doing what she needed to do offensively. Now we know what she does defensively. And I think her 1v1 defense these past few games has been the best it has been all season. Best it has been all season. And I'm telling you, like I said, when you are picking people up 94 feet from the basket, when you are going to double team on a high pick and roll, and you're doing that for 40 straight minutes, it's tiring. So when someone else can get you 14 points on top of Serena Sundell being in that zone and going stupid on them offensively, that could be a lot to ask for a lot of teams, but not for Jalen Glenn. Not for Jalen Glenn. I'm telling you, she's a walking smelling salt for this team. A shot of adrenaline. Whatever you need her to do, seems like she's going to be doing it unasked. I'm not in that huddle. I don't know if Coach Mitty is asking her. She just seems like she already knows what to do. All right? She knows what to do, and that's exactly what she did. And a couple more unsung heroes I have in this game. You have Ziana Walker, full court pressure, made sure she had some ball denial to Haley Van Lith, or just stuck with her like absolute glue. Yes, it wasn't really a very big offensive game from her. I know the last episode, something I wanted to see from her a little bit more was to utilize that mid-range that went so well for her against Iowa State and had that opportunity against KU as well. She had that opportunity against TCU, but just unfortunately shots just weren't falling. That's what happens. Excuse me. That's what happens in the game of basketball, right? But who cares if your offense, if the ball is not falling? Defense travels. That defense travels. Don't give a damn if the shot's not falling. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that can be out of your control. But you know what is in your control? Keeping them feet moving, keeping those feet sliding, keeping those hands active, being stuck, being absolute pest. A pest defensively. Like every single person who had the opportunity to touch that floor last night did. Okay. And that's led by Ziana Walker, right? And a couple other unsung heroes that I have is Eliza Maupin and Gisela Sanchez. The effort on D and their effort on Sedona Prince, like I said, 6'7". We don't have anyone who matches up against that right now with Yoki being injured. But the effort that they have, keeping a body on her, still being able to come out and help with a double team on the high pick and roll, and still being able to have the energy to sprint back to the open person who ever went to the paint or go back with Sedona Prince. That takes a lot. And shout out for Eliza Maupin that third quarter, where they went on that outscoring TCU 24-11. Eliza Maupin, she had a block which led to a fast break from Jalen Glenn, kicks it to a crashing Serena Sundell to get the lay, right? And in the very next possession, she forces a turnover when they were trying to force the ball into Sedona Prince. Okay? Immediate energy, just like that. Effort. Effort does a lot. We talked about it. A lot of people talked about it, even with the men's team early on in the season before they went on this cool run. Effort does a whole lot. When you're not the offensive player of a Jalen Glenn, of a Serena Sundell, of a Terrence Sides, or you don't bring that consistently, that effort, you making sure you diving on the ground for a ball, you fighting for a rebound, you trying to keep a ball inbound and kicking it out to anyone else that's wearing the same jersey as you to get another fast break going. That's what they do. That's what they did. And that's what helped not only beat this TCU team, but to even get them in this position in the first place, to be 22-2 and being in the driver's seat of the Big 12. Okay. Now, I said a lot. I can say a whole lot more, but I know we don't have the time. But I appreciate y'all for listening with me and going through this. People who have watched that game last night, y'all got to tell me y'all's thoughts, and if y'all felt the same way I was feeling as far as nerves, as far as heart rate, all of that. K-State is in the driver's seat as far as leading the Big 12, right? But can't get comfy, Can't get lackadaisical, okay? Because you still have Oklahoma State on the road. Number 25, Oklahoma State on the road in Stillwater. Before K-State had the honor of saying they handed TCU a conference loss, Oklahoma State did it first. Okay, so just because you're number one, just because you had your best win of the season, doesn't mean you can lose focus, right? And I know that, and they definitely know that as well. But you got to keep foot on throats because it's still going to get serious as far as this schedule goes, right? Because you do have Oklahoma State next. You do have Cincinnati. You do have UCF, West Virginia, who knows how to pick your pocket. That's still on the schedule. That's going to be a game on Fox. Then, of course, Kansas, Baylor, and Iowa State again. A lot can still happen, but to know that this is one obstacle that's out of the way, that's great. But still, time to lock in. Now, we'll have another look at that after that game against Oklahoma State, and we'll be back next week to see how it went. I'll see y'all then.